me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
The goal, though, is to make it a sustainable network, both at local levels for folks as well as national, so then we can move on and continue to help out in other, leadership positions and other networks or other initiatives, and have the younger professionals come up and take the opportunity to lead and make it a better network. So that's really the goal.
Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Today, we're diving into the Young Professionals Network. First up, we have Molly Keys, Director of Parks and Recreation in South Windsor, Connecticut, overseeing a town of nearly 28,000 residents with a diverse range of parks, aquatic facilities, outdoor workout areas, splash pads, and over 200 programs and events annually. Next, we'll hear from Eunice Donnelly, who serves the town of Stallings, North Carolina, a community of just under 20,000 people. Eunice, a director since age 24, brings her unique passion for photography to highlight the beauty and importance of park spaces and community events. And joining them is Jordy Emanuel, Recreation Supervisor with Glastonbury Parks and Recreation in Connecticut. Jordy manages a wide array of programs, including 3 outdoor aquatic facilities, 1 indoor facility, a splash pad, and all aquatic programming, as well as tennis and pickleball. Get ready to be inspired by their work and the impactful ways they serve their communities. Let's jump in.
I'm controlled. All right, we are live again today with all kind of special guests that all know one another through YPN. So how do y'all know one another? Maybe take us back to how y'all all met through YPN.
Thanks so much.
Well, yeah. So the NRPA YPN technically is how we first connected. Jordy and I work in the same state, so we're connected on that level. And we obviously started the Connecticut YPN together. But the NRPA YPN is how all 3 of us know each other. There was a subgroup of the Young Professional Network that we were all a part of, a couple years ago at this point. Yeah. And that was essentially a special meeting that we would host, one off of the traditional meeting. And we would try to hone in the discussion kind of a little bit further. So if it was a career-based discussion, we'd try to hone in on that and have smaller talking points in groups and it gave us a space to really just get to know other young professionals and have that time to have those conversations that you can't have when you're on a call with 60, 70 people.
Yeah. And was that in the early days of YPN? YPN as just an organization is really not that old. Do we know the year 1 of YPN?
It was, that was 2010, 2012, something like that. So Kevin Witt and Kimberly, all of them, they're in their, late 30s, early 40s maybe. Mm-hmm. And they started YPN. I know they're going to hear this.
Yeah, what's their ages?
I don't know, but you know what I mean? So they started when they were younger professionals, and they've kind of phased out. But the initiative that we met through, that was a new initiative that was created during our time with that. So
fantastic. Yeah. So were you and Eunice kind of in the same class, or I guess you could say YPN class? If there is a class, I don't even know.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, I gotta say we met probably 3 or 4 years ago at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Life is. I feel like so much things have changed, but yeah, it's been about that long.
Yeah. And how about you? Is it Jordy or Gordy or what?
Jordy. Yep.
Jordy. How did you come into this?
Yeah. So like Molly said, I work about 25 minutes away from her. And we met just through CRPA functions, our state association functions, when she had first started in South Windsor. When I got more involved with the YPN on the NRPA level, I started doing more of the rec talks. And then Eunice and myself, along with Jeff, we were kind of spearheading that project for a little bit. So I was able to meet Eunice through that. And I think that was that last year or 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago because Jeff got married, right? It was about the time that he got married. So it was.
Yeah. So that's
Jeff
how
and
I
I
met
got
them.
married like 2 weeks between each other. So
Yeah.
I need to, yeah.
Speaking of life events, how was Italy? To give us a little rundown on that.
Italy. Yeah. So beautiful weather, incredible people, very kind, like the hospitality and just like the generosity of the culture. Yeah, the food, I can't get over the food. But honestly, we got to do some incredible hikes between 5 towns in Cinque Terre. So we hiked about 12 miles, which was incredible. Just getting the opportunity to see a different landscape. And, we had our share of going to the Tuscan vineyards and exploring that and learning about like their winemaking process, their honey, their cheese, things like that. And then we did all the museums. So, it got a nice little mix of everything. I did look like an American because I was wearing shorts there in April, and they were all wearing, like nice clothes, and I was sweating. So
Those Italians, I swear, they'll go out for a jog and they look so well dressed. It's like they are
the
the
hiking
well-dressed.
trails, unreal. Like everyone was so well dressed in khakis and whatever for the hikes, and we're in our sport outfits and
Right.
just
We're
sweating.
ready.
Yeah. Stuck
I feel
out.
like Americans are constantly ready to compete in some triathlon.
Athleisure is a thing.
Oh
What
my
cities did you go to? Any ones that any famous ones or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, we went to Florence, so
Oh,
that
yeah.
was obviously a good famous spot. And then we went to a town in the Chianti region, which no one really would really know about. It's like Cristo Guido. So it's a very small town. It's about a half hour outside of San Gimignano. I can never say any of those words.
Mhm.
Then we went to Bologna, and then we went to Cinque Terre. And Cinque Terre is the postcard. Like everyone sees a postcard of the 5 villages overlooking the ocean. So yeah, that's that was kind of like everyone's like, oh, Cinque Terre, we love that place. I'm like, yeah, it's a ton of tourists though, so you gotta be prepared to like
Man.
battle it out for seat places. But it was nice, and it's always good to when you have the opportunity to take a step back from work and just disconnect for a little bit. So it was always nice to know that like my team had everything taken care of over here, and I was able to actually disconnect and relax without worrying about fires starting. So
Yeah. All right. So because Molly's been on the show several times. She is globally famous now. She's now traveling all the way to Italy to sign autographs and stuff. Eunice, why don't you go first and kind of introduce yourself to America YPN show, and then Jordy can go next.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Eunice Donnelly. I work for the town of Stallings, right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. Pretty small. My version of small. Population has about a little less than 20,000 people. Started working full time in the rec world when I was 21. Became a director at 24. Was the youngest in the state for a little bit until I got a little bit older, and then someone came, surpassed me. They took the crown, so now I'm creeping into my 30s. I'm not the youngest anymore.
Who's the youngest? Do we even know who's the youngest director in America?
The last I heard, I think he was from Southern Pines. I'm not sure if he's still there. I think he had a pretty big load that he kind of got jumped on, but not impossible. But I think there was just a lot. So I don't know who it is now. I'll let you know after our state conference. They give out a little speech and someone goes up there. So stay tuned for December.
Yeah.
What I hear.
Tell everyone about your photography passion. I think that's something to be.
My gosh. Yeah, that's just like my little passion project. I'll be honest, I did it for like side money in college. Like I was like, woohoo, grad photos. Like this is gonna be my fun money. So just started it, loved it, kind of just really grew toward it. I lived in Australia for a few months when I was in college, and then that's probably when it really took off. Loved being outside, getting pictures of people in nature. I feel like my house has no pictures of my face in it. It's everybody else's face, and just some fun scenes. So what's been really cool with that is I've been able to kind of combine my love for photos and turn into kind of the camera PR for our parks department. So that's been a really fun way that we've been able to post about our events, our programs, get some really like high quality photos of what we're doing in the parks, especially for people that don't really know what Parks and Rec is. I think they just think these park spaces kind of pop up. They don't really know who takes care of them. So it's been a really, really cool way to share what we do on social media with maybe a different population. So it's just been really fun. I absolutely love it. Love getting to do it. It's a good way to get involved in all of our town events. I get to just kind of creep on people, go take their pictures. We post all about it. So it really is such a good way to advocate for the park system as well. It's been really, really fun.
So this is how Eunice justifies all her camera expenses. And
I wish. Trust me, I've learned when signing them, I'm like, I think we need a drone. Anyone want to bite on that? So, haven't got that yet. Hasn't been approved. but maybe.
Yeah.
But
so I'm curious, what do you do with your fun money? What is your guilty pleasure?
Oh, my guilty pleasure. Oh, Lord. I don't know. Like, I'm a really bad person to go out with because I just want everyone to enjoy their time. So I feel like I will force my friends to go do stuff with me. I'm like, it's already paid for. It was crazy. It was like a BOGO deal, and it's just taken care of. Like, we went and God, this was a few days ago. There's a place called Activate in Charlotte, and it's this like indoor like Chuck E. Cheese for adults kind of, and you scan a bracelet. They have different rooms of activities. And I literally just sent in the group message. I was like, it's done, paid, we're going. Put it, Eunice Collective had a fun team building day. Like, this is awesome. So, yeah, it's just the best. That's just a good way for me to decompress, hang out with people. I mean, anytime I can kind of take a break from work and go a few miles out of this place is always just a true joy.
Yep. And there's an urgent care next door for all of us injuring ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Right down the road.
Every time I go on a guy trip, somebody's getting hurt.
Yeah. The next adventure we're going, it's called the Tipsy Pickle, and it's like an indoor pickleball court. Yeah. So we're all taking the team out in 2 weeks and going to that. So that should be interesting. I just learned how to play pickleball. So I'm hopping on the trend, and it is intense. I've never been so humbled by a bunch of older citizens in my entire life. It's hard. Really hard. Yeah. So, but
yeah, it's madness. All right, Jordy, how about yourself?
Well, Eunice, I was actually down in Charlotte about 3 weeks ago, and that's a location that we were going to go, was the Tipsy Pickle, but did not end up there. So let me know how it is.
Yeah, stay tuned.
I'm excited to hear. Well, my name's Jordy Emanuel. I work with Glastonbury Parks and Recreation in Connecticut. I'm a recreation supervisor, was just promoted into this role back in April. One of my colleagues had retired after 34 years being in the position. I've been with the department full time now for about 4 years in August. And part-time, I started back in 2017 working for the teen center here. And that's where I kind of drew my passion for Parks and Rec and getting into the field was, getting my job here and seeing how many, special events that we do, what kind of work we do for the community overall. Because I was just really exposed to my little niche of working with teenagers when I was working in Rocky Hill, which is where I started my Parks and Rec career in its entirety. So it was a good experience. I actually worked in South Windsor for a little bit.
Not with me.
Not with Molly. Missed Molly by a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting a full-time assistant director job in East Longmeadow, Mass. So I was there for about 2.5 years, oversaw a lot of different areas of the department, kind of focused more on aquatics and camps. And we did a lot of youth sports up there in East Longmeadow. It's a very youth sport oriented town. So I was able to be exposed to that and had the opportunity to create some additional programming. And so it was a really good experience. And then August of 2021 is when I started here in Glastonbury. So now I oversee the aquatics programming here. We have 3 outdoor facilities, 1 indoor facility, a splash pad, and then all the aquatic programming that comes with that. And then I oversee tennis, pickleball. And I got to say too, Eunice, that I also feel a little, much more humbled now after visiting the courts a couple of times.
And they're intense. They were like, you just don't know the rules, so you're going to take a break. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is not fun.
Kicked off the court.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is cool.
very, very agile group of people. So, but yeah, that's a little bit about me going into my, first summer, with this new position. Very excited, and definitely feeling the heat, not only of the summer, but getting the pools open and getting our summer programming started.
Love it. I'm starting to see our first in-person event needs to be at the Tipsy Pickle. And just
I got you covered. I'll take a few photos and we'll just make it happen.
I love it. All right, Molly. So for those of you that don't know Molly, maybe say a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself.
Oh gosh.
New to the show.
Yeah. All right. I guess I'm not going to say anything different than what I've said before per se, but so I'm Molly Keys, Director of Parks and Recreation. Been here for about 5 years now. Recently just turned 30, so I've been aging with the job. Just the more time, the more experience here.
Like fine wine, Italian wine.
Yeah, like a fine wine, exactly. We are a town of just about 27,000 residents, creeping up to 28,000. We have a variety of parks, aquatic facilities, outdoor workout areas, splash pads, and then we have about 200 programs and events a year. I have 21 full-time staff here, which they're all incredible. They're, in the midst of preparing for the farmers market and the pool and camp, and the athletics are finally winding down, so we can prepare to, prep our parks for just heavy summer use of camps and people just being out and about. Personally, so before I was in South Windsor, I worked for the YMCA. I was a youth, teen, and camp director, oversaw resident and day camps. I grew up doing youth sports, summer camp, went to school specifically, Springfield College, undergrad and grad, to hopefully work for a rec or a YMCA, and here I am. And so I am the Young Professional Network Chair for NRPA after being involved with it for the 5 years I've been in South Windsor. And then Jordy and I, along with another colleague, Sarah, we started CTY, like the YPN chapter, 3 years ago at this point. Maybe. Yeah. It's been about 3 years.
Around there.
Yeah, just around there. So we're heavy involved with the Young Professional Networks stuff right now. And the goal, though, is to make it a sustainable network, both at local levels for folks as well as national. So then we can move on and, continue to help out in other, leadership positions and other networks or other initiatives, and have the younger professionals come up and take the opportunity to lead and make it a better network. So that's really the goal. That's what I've been reflecting on a lot lately, as I am winding down my time with Young Professional Network on the national level, like directly, is just trying to make sure that it remains sustainable. We have good connections for folks to then continue to, have new speakers come in, new topics, potentially some new initiatives that, they can manage, and then get some new voices in there, because ultimately people are going to be tired of hearing the same 6 people that have been talking for the last 4 or 5 years. But yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, it's me. And Jordy, side note, Jordy was the assistant director in the town that now I live in. So him and I have some weird connections, like all over the place. So it's like all these weird like touch points, and we only met like 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm like, how is this possible?
Right. Park and Rec cousins. It's we're all related through Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
for those of you that don't know, Molly runs one of the best, even though she just launched it, internship programs, which is super rare as I'm finding out, because after interviewing 400, close to 400 people that just this year, I'm like, so tell me about your internship program. And they're like, we want to get one started. I know we should. Meanwhile, Molly, maybe tell everybody a little bit about your experience there. You had your intern on one of our previous shows.
Yeah, she was awesome. So Alice was our Springfield College intern again. As an alumni of Springfield, the department had reached out and they said, "Hey, listen, we have some incredible students that need placement." And I said, "Well, great. We have a template. We had the budget for an intern, and we said, let's just make it work, right? Like, let's launch this." So I sat down with the school and with Alice, and we really kind of framed an internship that would benefit not only her and her growth, but also, professionals going into their entry level jobs within recreation. So it was a tester almost in a sense, and it helped us kickstart. And now we have another intern coming in the fall from a different college that I've also sat down now, and we were able to kind of give that framework. So now I have, it listed out like budgeting and finance. This is what you're going to learn with us. Marketing. This is what you're going to learn with us. Program operations. This is what you're going to learn. Events, customer service. So we have bullet points with objectives and things that they will learn from this internship opportunity, but also the flexibility for understanding that every single person comes with a different background and skill set. And we want to help them kind of broaden their experience. So if someone's like, "Hey, I really want to learn more about athletics or events," then we're going to have them spend a little bit more time with those individuals in our department, but also telling them like, you're still going to do X, Y, and Z. So you get that experience and you can confidently go into your first job. So we're really excited. We have people that have been continuing to email us and ask to be interns. So we're going to have an intern every single semester moving forward.
I love it. Any takeaways from that, as far as now that you've got one under your belt, things you've learned, things you might do a little bit better or something like that?
Yeah, well, definitely a little bit better, because I think it was chaotic when we first started, because we found our space and we wanted to make it such a welcoming environment, and then we had all the perfect intentions, and our full-time staff that she wanted to work with ended up leaving. So it became a little chaotic in that sense of having to kind of be like, "Hey, I know you really wanted this experience and we're still going to give it to you. And now you're going to get it with myself and my assistant director as we run around and try to run these events ourselves. And you're going to see it in a different lens than maybe you would have saw it if there was that dedicated staff person." So that was chaotic. And I'm hopeful that that won't happen again, but it's recreation, so you never know.
Right.
I mean, that's just the turnover. You never know. And then I think a lesson for us is to understand that the kids that are in college now, it wasn't the same when we were in school. I know we haven't been out of school for terribly too long, but they're not getting as much field experience up until their final internship, and they're not necessarily learning the same way. So you got to be able to kind of put them in situations more often than not that you'd be like, "Oh, they already have that experience." No, they don't. So you got to be able to be okay with putting them in situations and knowing that there might be some risk, and helping them kind of deal with and navigate those uncomfortable situations. We learned that, yeah, Alice is great, and she unfortunately never got to experience frontline stuff because of COVID, because of whatever else that happened when she was in college. So it's just being intentional, understanding that these kids are different than when we were.
Yeah.
And I think there's all these crazy requirements now too, in terms of like, you can't be at, certain rec sites without, all these sign-offs, or, people don't want them working with the kids necessarily, which is unfortunate, but I do think there are some challenges and hurdles. I see Eunice shaking her head. I get it. Yeah, and Jordy too. Like, I mean, you guys get it, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys see that? Like the college kids are different now a little bit in the field?
I think now it's hard. I don't know if it'll kind of go backwards once people have, because right now I feel like we're with the college kids that had to deal with COVID in high school.
Correct.
So
Right.
now it's like, okay, they dealt with their senior year, kind of got robbed, and then this transition, and then they kind of their freshman, sophomore year. And now it's a lot of online school, which might be great for like an accounting major, but for a rec major, online classes are really, really rough. So it's hard. And I think a lot of universities just wanted them to graduate, especially around here is what I see. They're not going to withhold a degree just because you couldn't get 400 hours out in an internship space. So I feel really bad for these kids because at the same time, like, I mean, I could say all day, like, oh, I would have loved to have online school, to have the freedom. But then in reality, I mean, I cherish all my outdoor classes. That's where I met my friends. I still meet my colleagues, you know, that I met in the field. So you just can't make the same connections online in this type of work. So it's really a shame, and you don't know what you don't know. So it's like they never got to see it any other way. But for us, I think it's really hard when we know how great it could be in person. So it's just such a weird space right now, I think.
Well, and I do think what you said though with that is like, we recognize that. And I feel like some folks, if you have the ability to host an intern and you have that space and that mindset and you're willing to kind of like help them work through that and put them, maybe it might be uncomfortable to be like, hey, now you got to talk at this event, or hey, you got to coordinate this athletic thing, but put them in a safe risk environment, right? And be willing to do that instead of saying like, oh, you never got that experience, I'm just going to have you do league scheduling in the back. Like that's not going to help them, you know?
Yeah.
Now, for those interns listening, normally Parks and Rec is a very mellow, you know, industry with no surprises and is never chaotic. So don't worry about that. That was a one-time thing that Molly intern went through.
Yeah, you know what? So, and that's the thing, right? So there's always turnover because, and I'm okay with it in our department because I want people to move up. And if there's not space for you to move up in my department, I still want you to do the best for your career, for your family, and find that space to continue to progress. I think the best kind of leaders and the best kind of cultures develop their staff. You work well with your staff and in the hopes that they're going to do well for the profession, right? Like you don't want to just hold them hostage. Is it great? Yeah, but I mean, you can't. You want them to grow and do their own thing. So whenever I have a staff leaving that are going on to a bigger opportunity, I'm okay with it. It's just chaotic.
Yeah.
Because then the next day I'm out leading something, you know?
Yeah. So Eunice and Jordan, have y'all Jordy, were y'all able to attend any internship program when y'all went through school, or does your program, your agency you're currently with, offer anything like that?
Go ahead, Eunice.
Oh no, you go. I was like waiting to hear. It's like, what?
So I actually got my bachelor's degree in business management. I graduated in 2018, concentrated in HR. And then like the final semester of college, I was like, you know what? I think I really want to do Parks and Rec full time. So then I started to get my master's degree shortly thereafter, before I started in my prior role in East Long Meadow. So I also got the interesting experience of starting my master's degree before COVID. And then I ended up taking a little bit of a break from it and then finishing it after COVID and the changes after the pandemic. So it was a very interesting way, thing that I'm kind of reflecting on right now, is to see what it was and what it is now. I did have an internship opportunity, not formal through school, but I had an opportunity when I was working in Rocky Hill. I was, an intern there, was able to get a lot of amazing experience, a lot of customer service experience, dealing with, some unhappy people at some points. So I had that experience. And then when I, realized that I wanted to do this full time, my colleagues here in Glastonbury were absolutely fantastic with giving me, projects and, kind of leading me through some things that I haven't experienced before, putting together budgets, coordinating a special event, things like that, starting up a new program. So having those experiences here definitely helped lead me to the professional that I am now. So much so that, when I first started, it was still back in, the COVID era, but we used to have interns, formal interns here through school, and then we had stopped for a couple of years, and now we're introducing the program back. We just had hired an intern back in January who's going to be finishing up in August. And I think it's a great way that, you know, students to learn what the profession is actually like. They're in the office with us. They get to see what we're kind of dealing with. Some of the stuff that we see, we get to teach them a lot of what they're going to be dealing with on a day-to-day basis and their roles once they move up and move on. You know, the intern that's working for us now, he's getting parks experience right now. He's over with our parks maintenance staff. So he's getting a lot of it. So in that aspect, I think it's a very positive thing for, you know, not just Parks and Rec, people who are going to school for Parks and Rec, just anybody going to school having an internship opportunity to learn what it's really like. So in that respect, yeah, I think it was an amazing experience for me.
Eunice, how about yourself?
Yeah, so where I went to school, App State up in Boone, their rec management program was accredited. So they had a lot of stricter rules, I would say, as far as what classes you took, how your internship looked. And it was structured to where it had to be 400 hours, didn't matter if you were paid or not. You got assignments that got sent off every week. Not only did you have to send them, your supervisor had to as well. So it was awesome. It was probably like my favorite thing looking back at school. But mine was a little different. When I was 15, I started working for a parks department, stayed there all the way through college, would come home over the summers and help. And when they found out I was having to do an internship program, I told them, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to quit this summer. So they started one. So I would say, so that was pretty wonderful. And then they also started a full-time position that they, from scratch, that the internship program ran into. So I kind of stuck around for a long time with them. Loved it. I gained a lot of hands-on experience. It was really cool too, starting something. So I think you could take it both ways. You could either say, man, I wish I had someone to learn from, but also I kind of got to do whatever I wanted and then figure it out. But that comes with a lot of also like, oh, your leash is long, and then you start doing something, and I think people kind of pull you back to reality a little bit. So it was a funky space, that's for sure, but it taught me a lot. Not only kind of about myself, but also the boundaries you can kind of push and when to kind of stay in your lane. My lane was small. It was like a bike lane, you know, very on the side. So yeah, that's where I was for a little bit, but just a great opportunity. I almost wish that, kind of go back to what Jordy said, that your sophomore year would be just such an awesome time for an internship. So you can see what it's like, and you're not, I don't want to say wasting your college years, but man, I wish I could have done it when I was a sophomore and then really thought about what classes would help me later on instead of what classes can I take where I don't have to have class on Mondays and Fridays. You know, I wish I could throw back and maybe help myself out a little bit. But I really wish that every school would require it, because it's so hard for these kids, I think, to graduate from college and then have no rec experience.
Yep.
Because sometimes I would rather hire someone that has no rec degree that has at least dealt with the public in some shape or form. So
Right.
Yeah, I can't stress it enough. I mean, I just hope everyone has that opportunity. And I think it's awesome that Molly's kind of given it to these kids, but also the flexibility to let them shape what they want to learn. Because I'll be honest, I can't compete with McDonald's hourly rate.
Right.
Yeah.
I just can't. So if there's any way that we can kind of mold it, I mean, I think that's awesome that you're doing that for them.
Yeah.
And I think, like, for us too, like, another way we're able to kind of get folks, because again, like you said, McDonald's, and like we have Costco and everything else that pays a good amount, right? So even with seasonal staff, it can be a little tricky. But for us, we're also saying, like, we'll pay for your state conference to be a part of that, or, you know, things, so that way they'll get the additional networking opportunities or professional development. Like, if they're signed on, they'll go to our quarterlies, which is our quarterly education. So it's just things that aren't necessarily pay too, that have been boosting. I think they like that idea of being able to go to those opportunities for free, but it's hard when the budget dictates, right?
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to play a little short commercial for this very show. This is our version 1. Still working on our version 2 as we build out more episodes here. I think we're redesigning the logo and stuff. But then when we come back, I'd like for each of you to kind of think, and y'all may already have this, Molly, but what is the mission statement and vision statement of YPN, or what would you think it is? When we come back, I'll have each of y'all answer that question. So I'll play this. Come right back.
The future of parks and recreation is here, and it starts with you. Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Recreation Show, where we bring you the latest insights, trends, and conversations shaping the world of parks and recreation. Today, we're diving into something that's shaping the future of our industry, Young Professional Networks, or YPN. If you love your job and love the parks and recreation community and are looking to connect with the next generation of leaders, this episode is for you. YPN is where driven, passionate professionals come together to connect, grow, and make a real impact. It's not just about networking, it's about building the future of our communities. Why join YPN? Career growth and mentorship. Learn from the best in the industry. Innovative ideas and collaboration. Be part of the next big movement. Leadership development. Take charge, make decisions, and create change. Whether you're just starting out or looking to take your career to the next level, YPN is your gateway to success. From exclusive networking opportunities to cutting-edge industry insights, this is where you build your legacy. Because the future of parks and recreation starts with you.
It's so weird hearing my voice there because that's not me. It's all AI. Our content creators, they're just type and I start talking and I'm not even there.
Wow.
But all right, so who wants to go first?
I'll let someone else speak. Go ahead.
Jordy, why don't you go first? What is the mission, and what do you think would be a good mission statement and a vision for YPN?
It's going to be hard to top that commercial. I mean, it really will. I think the mission of YPN, whether it's on a state level, national level, is just to connect the future of the profession, connect professionals, of who are just starting out in the field, who are new to the field of Parks and Rec, no matter what age they are, someone that needs a mentor. So I think connecting professionals of all ages, connecting people together. I think, having a mentor in this field is very important, especially when you're attending state conferences, national conferences, and you don't know anybody. When I was first attending our state conference, when I was still working part-time, I didn't know who anybody was. And my colleague that had actually retired back in April, I followed him like a lost puppy throughout our first conference. And he was introducing me to everybody. And I was able to network that way. And I think having, somebody like that, I definitely didn't take advantage, I took advantage of it for sure, but I understand that a lot of people may not have that opportunity. So I think that's kind of where the inspiration came from when me, Molly, Sarah, actually one of my colleagues, Anna, also, spearheaded, getting the YPN in Connecticut up and running. I think that was definitely a thing that we all thought of, and a big reason why we wanted to start it. So I think the commercial did a really good job kind of explaining what our mission is and, why we do what we do and why we created this in the first place.
Good. Yeah. And they created that off of not much. I was like, just Google YPN, go onto the website of, NRPA, see what they say about it and just make me something. And that was what they came up with. So I can't wait to see the second version when they have a little more context. Eunice, you want to go next?
Yeah, I mean, I really just see it as such a fun transitional space for, you know, young professionals that are wanting to add to their toolbox of Parks and Rec. That, I mean, sums it all up in a nutshell. I think for me, you just really meet people. I mean, God, for all of us, I'm all the way in North Carolina over here. And those two, you know, their roots run a little bit deeper, but you just really never know. The rec world's a lot bigger than you think it is. You know, we talk about it, we're like, oh, it's this small niche thing, but man, so many people are connected, and it's such an awesome tool while you're young. It is just such a really cool thing to be a part of. And I really just believe it helps a lot of those kids that are coming out of college or maybe switching careers that are younger, gives them a space to learn and grow and see what everybody else is doing. I mean, you can never know everything in recreation. If you do, please point me to that person. I'd love to talk to them. You know, I'd love for them to come for a visit. Please help me out. So yeah, it's just a really, really cool space of people. And I love that even if when you do grow out of it, you still are connected to these people forever. So it's such just a huge, huge asset.
I like how you use that phrase transitional period. Maybe say a little more about that and how important it is to try, and what a massive transition from college life to Parks and Rec. I mean, there's so much. I mean, I've interviewed people that are, you know, retired for this after 40 years, and they were learning up until the last day. Yeah. So and it's a lot.
So much happens in your 20s. Like, anyways, like I think technically what your brain's like fully developed at like 28, I think is what that timeline is. So it's just wild to see how life changes for you, not only, you know, in your work life, but personally as well. I think it's when you start to make these hard decisions, you're getting married, you're moving, you're making new friends, you're losing friends. Not only that, your professional life is starting to switch as well. You're growing into maybe more of a supervisor role. You're growing into a director. You're now overseeing people that might be way older than you. I mean, what just a hard time of life when you still might not even know who you are and what you really want to do. So this group is all kinds of people. I mean, it really is all walks of life. You never know what you're going to get. I mean, you could talk to someone that is just starting out at 40 years old that came from corporate America and now wants to switch up their lifestyle and they're a maintenance technician in the park. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. And YPN is such a good place to just kind of learn who you are, figure it out, and know how to balance personal work. It's just a good group of people to talk about anything that you want. I mean, they're going to help you in all walks of life. I know for me, it's like I just became a mom not too long ago. So that's been really
Congratulations.
So that's been really cool. I was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to love something as much as I love work? I was like, how crazy is that? I was like, what am I going to do? Is this good for us? And then to come out, it's like, you just have it all. I mean, it really is just awesome. So you get a lot of good people to talk through things. And when you're questioning what your purpose is, these are your people. So you're going to want to have a lot of people in your back pocket to help you out, because you're going to need it. It takes a very big village. Can't do it solo. Like I said, if you find somebody, send them my way.
I love it. All right, Molly, I want to hear your version of this. You may already have one. Maybe they have one templated out.
Well, I mean, we technically have like a purpose, right? And it's like, I mean, it's like written out, like we've talked about it. It's really to promote networking, enhance learning, and encourage professional development opportunities within folks that are new to the profession or 35 and younger. And it's to create a space that people can share knowledge, encourage new ideas, and ask questions in a safe environment. In the initiatives that we've done through like NRPA, YPN, that a lot of states also do, would be like things like space in the name of it. It's coffee or lunch with a mentor mentee. We do that during conference. We have a lot of connections with the mentor mentee programs on the national level. And that's really just, again, to encourage folks to get to know another park and recreation professional that is not necessarily new or younger professional anymore. And truly, it's just to give voice to young professionals, right? So this kind of platform, for example, is giving voice to young professionals. Our meetings, our network, we do publications when it comes to conferences. We try to push on social media, and it's to give a voice to those young professionals to then, feel like they can continue their work and feel supported, and they can go on to new networks. And ultimately, they both, Jordy and Eunice, both said it. The connections, the networking that you make. My phone's been going off with people in a group chat, and it's all people that I've met through YPN that I'm very close with now. We talk almost every single day, and none of them live here, right? They're all over the place. And that is, it's just like the powerful piece of YPN is that they're all over the country, but yet we can always just shoot texts and ask questions or jump on the Zoom call, and they'll have your back and kind of brainstorm through stuff with you. And it doesn't matter what position you're in too, so all of them are at different levels. And like for me, similar to Eunice, we were both directors very young, right? So like 25, and it was kind of a scary space, and YPN gave me that opportunity to not feel like, oh, I can't ask these questions or I have no one to talk to. Like, it was a safe space to go to. And that's our hope for folks. And we want new folks to come into the Young Professional Network and take over. And then we'll go to Leadership Development Network, or, they have aquatics networks or the Hispanic network, different opportunities for us to lead and help out in the profession.
Yeah. And so maybe we can talk about, and so what I'm seeing is just in general, Parks and Recreation is a lot about personal development and gaining and honing the skills that you'll need in Parks and Rec. And just know that if you're a young professional, you'll be doing this for the rest of your career. I have started the facilities maintenance show, and even though I was a master electrician and engineer background, I'm starting to try to peel apart what is maintenance in Parks and Recreation. And I come across these masters of, like an example is these master arborists that have decades of experience. And when you come across that level of mastery, it's hard not to get intimidated. And then I can see where one of the common struggles for young professionals is managing these older people that have high degree of mastery in their skill set or what they're doing for Parks and Recreation. And now all of a sudden you're in charge of them. First of all, let's maybe talk about what is it like to manage people that are older than you when you're coming into this profession? And then what are some other common struggles that young professionals face?
Scary, but awesome. I think what the coolest thing for me is I feel like we were pressed on, like, my age, a lot of work-life balance. So it's like, please do not work your life away. Like, I truly believe like your time with your family and friends is just as important as the time you do here. So I think that was really cool for our staff that was older. It's a different perspective. It's like, don't be scared to ask off. Please, you guys work untraditional hours. It's so nice to see them enjoying that time away. So I think for them, it's almost like, oh my gosh, this is a kind of a fresh breath of air, for working with someone that's a little bit younger, to see that value. But it's also like, there's only so much I can give as far as knowledge and experience. So I feel like my sources are a little bit limited as far as that goes. I will be your biggest advocate. I will stand by your side all day. I will say, yes, I'm there to help you. Like, I will support you, counsel. I'll talk to anybody. But as far as like truly knowledge, have I ever seen it done before? The answer is probably no. Like, I probably have not seen that before. Can I call somebody right now? Absolutely. But I think it also gives people too a sense of freedom, as far as I can't really be a micromanager because I don't really know what exactly it is that I'm managing all the time. So it leads into that. But I think there's also a level of respect there as well too. So it's a hard balance. But man, it's really awesome to see people just play to their strengths and build out a team. And I don't know if y'all can attest to that too, but it's just making sure they feel supported and heard, but also you're not working them to death either. I mean, it's just it's a dance, and it could either go really great or can go sideways fast. But it's been, it really has been a joy working with all ages.
I mean, I think Eunice, you said everything that I'd want to say really when it comes down to it, is just understanding. My staff team know that I hire them for a reason, right? So if they're older than me, they might have a little bit more experience in certain facets, and that's okay. Like, we can't know everything, and we can't, if you think you're the expert of everything, then you're really, I mean, you're not being leading, right? Like, and it's just understanding, like, especially on the park side for me, it's always just being willing to be there and like learn from them. Or I kind of used to drive around quite a bit, like when I first started, and kind of like just shadow what they were doing. But and understanding, like, if I'm going to go advocate for them, I have to kind of know some basic pieces with that. But also, it's just like you trust your staff, you know, they're experts of what they're doing, and just be their best advocate, and just show your face and be present, even if you don't necessarily you can't necessarily help it, right? Just be present and be willing to just be there and be helpful, and in the way that you can. And that's usually just saying hi and checking in if they need anything, and then advocating for more money, or, just going to their, like, anything that they need you to do. I think that's really a big piece of it. And like for us, like, you can't be, I mean, I guess for the young professional, like, a big struggle, I think, whether it's not someone older than you that you're necessarily leading, it's just like a lot of people in the towns have been there for a long time. They tend to be older. So it's just like being able to be in those rooms and be confident and, advocate for your department and your staff, while knowing that some of these older folks in the town might be looking at you a little different because you are younger, right? But still being able to maintain that confidence and that composure, and to go into those spaces knowing that you do belong there, because it's intimidating for sure.
Jordy?
I would agree with all of that. It's funny because it's something that when I started my new role, it's something that I'm currently dealing with. One of my staff is my aquatics director. This is his 40th summer here, which is almost unheard of for a part-time seasonal position. So very, very, very smart guy. He's been in this role for in the director role for a very long time, and knows all the inner workings of how our aquatics programs are running. And, here I come, the new, the new person coming in, not really sure, I haven't been, in the aquatics field for as long. But like Molly said, like, leaning on them to teach you the things that you don't know. I'm a firm believer of not pretending like you know what you don't know. Yep. Because at some point it will show. It's funny because I was talking to Chris Nunes about this a couple of days ago, and he said, when you're first starting out in these types of positions, you are the director of why. Why do we do this way? Why do we do this that way? Why have we been doing this for X amount of years? I thought that was a really good sticking point with me after having that conversation with him. But it is a challenge at the same time, because, you want them to look at you and say, you are the leader, which I'm sure, in a lot of cases, that is what happens. But unfortunately, I think in some other cases, there's the staff that say, well, I know more than you. How are you my boss and you don't know as much as I do, which can be intimidating for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, that's not the position that I'm in, but
run.
no, thankfully I'm not in that position, but it is hard. I can definitely see that. And I think that's why we have the Young Professional Network. We have opportunities to talk to people from other towns and to talk to people that are in the same boat as us. How do you handle this situation? How would you go about handling this situation? And even though you're not an expert in whatever, you are managing day to day, and you're learning and becoming the expert, you're able to lean on other people who are, more of the experts in other towns. So I think, it's definitely rewarding, because you get to see, not only what they can bring to the table in terms of how long they've been here and what they've contributed to the organization for so many years. You get to tap into that knowledge base, and then, you also get that wisdom of just, living for, so I think it's a great reward, but also think it could be challenging as well at times.
All right, so here's what I wrote down so far. I've got, I dream in spreadsheets over here, so
Yeah.
I've got 2 columns: common struggles for young professionals and advice for young professionals. I'm going to read through them, and we're coming towards the end of the show, so maybe if you just one that kind of pops out to you, you can speak on it, and then we'll go ahead and wrap things up. So common struggles that I've heard mentioned so far are managing people that are older than you, work-life balance, being confident in the room and in council meetings, dealing with the chaos. And then one that I've heard commonly is dealing with the holiday and weekend schedule of a Parks and Rec professional as some common struggles. I know there's plenty more. The advice that I've heard y'all give to young professionals is play to your strengths, ask for help, lean on your staff and their expertise. You don't have to ask. You don't have to ask. You don't have to know everything. Be their voice and advocate. Don't pretend like you know what you don't know. I like that you are the director of why we do what we do. Use your network of Park and Rec professionals and tap into your knowledge base. Who would like to go first? Do any of those hop out to you as something you'd like to speak on? Knowledge base.
I think
it's
a big
tough,
thing-
right? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Eunice.
It's like, I think the last thing I'd probably add is also like give credit where credit is due. I think I get a lot of thanks for some things, and I truly have nothing to do with them. Like,
Yes.
yes, these people might work in the same department that but I can promise you I did nothing more but said, good job, thanks for handling it. So I think that's a big, I really want to stress that enough. Like, please get power to the people. I work with some really, really great people, and I hope they never feel any differently. I have worked for some people in the past that I feel like I did not get any credit. You know, the unsung heroes in the back are always the recreation professionals. So if you can be that person for somebody else to really just shine the light on them, I think that is going to take you far, and you can't really put an age on that. That's just a respect thing, and really just appreciate who is in your corner, because these are the people that make me look good. I can promise you that. It is everyone that works right alongside me.
So give credit where credit is due. Be the department cheerleader. I added those to the list.
I feel like that.
I mean, yeah, realistically, you do have to treat your staff well, because if you don't, then like you're not gonna be able to run your programs. Your facilities aren't gonna look good, and they're the ones that are grinding every single day, right? And they're the ones that are pushing those in the frontline staff. And if you're not respecting them, if you're not giving them that credit, taking the time to appreciate them, then you're not going to get what you need either. I mean, it's just, you got to treat them well. And I think some people know how to do that. And unfortunately, some people have to learn the hard way. But hopefully they can hear this and understand that treating people well goes a long way. We're a people first profession, in terms of like not just staff, but like our public too, right? Like we're front facing, serving the community. And I think being a young professional in this field is such it's a great opportunity for you to start off strong, and you have, your skill set that you currently have, but just understanding that where you are now, you're not going to be in 30 years, and you have to take every single thing that you're learning today, tomorrow, whatever, and not forget it, because you don't want to be that high up person that forgets what it was like to do everything, because you're going to be out of touch with the profession. So I always try to say, like, don't forget like where you came from and what you learned now, because you have to always stay relevant with it.
You're never too good to clean a toilet. You're never too good.
Yeah, or a dirty diaper underneath the splash pad bench.
Yeah.
I love it. Humility.
Yes, that's something that I talk about every staff training with my leadership staff, my head lifeguards, my assistant head lifeguards. When I was doing camp, my camp staff, my camp leadership staff, humility. And I'm a very big proponent of, I would never ask my staff to do anything that I wouldn't do. And that's something that I want passed down to my staff as well. But, in terms of that list, I think a lot of the challenges can also be looked at as some rewards as well. Like I had talked about, getting, the opportunity and the privilege to work, with staff that you're managing that might be older than you. At times could definitely be a challenge, but can definitely be the most rewarding piece of your day at some points. So I like to take those challenges and look at them as opportunities. And, but I think one of them would definitely be the work-life balance at some points. Like, we have programs running 24 hours. It seems like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And, ultimately if something happens, you're getting a phone call about what happened. And, it just, it definitely seems like you're always on call for something to happen. So I think that, out of that list, I think that would definitely be one of the bigger challenges, especially as we're going into our summer months. It's the busiest time of year for us, and it seems like that's when the most issues happen. So, but yeah, I would definitely take a lot of those other challenges and, think of some of them as some opportunities and rewards of working in this profession as well.
Love it. Well, guys, this has been a great show that just kind of flew by. I can't believe that hour just happened. Any quote of the day from each of y'all? We'll go ahead and end with that, and then we'll call it a day. And I'm sure y'all have nothing to do this weekend in Parks and Rec.
I always say Carpe Diem. It's on my sign back there. So Carpe Diem, seize the day. It's my big one.
Oh, I say don't be sad, because sad backwards is death, and that's not good.
I love it.
I like that. Seize the day. Seize the day.
Fantastic. We'll go with that one. What was that? Dead Poets Society? I think that was a movie of Robin Williams.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, great movie. Well, guys, y'all have an awesome weekend. Thank y'all so much for coming on the show today. If you are listening to the show and you're a young professional, Molly's looking to hand the torch to somebody if they hadn't picked that. But, get involved. Don't wait for somebody to ask you. A lot of times take the initiative, and that'll serve you well in life. So appreciate all that y'all are doing.
Thank you.
Great work.
Nice to see everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
At DPRS Media Co., we don't just create content. We elevate community through storytelling. Now, we're proud to introduce the newest addition to the family. Welcome to Youth Sports Mastery, the podcast where champions are shaped, not just on the field, but in life. Hosted by the doorman himself, Craig LeBlanc, and National Academy of Athletics founder Aaron Locks. Youth Sports Mastery dives deep into how youth sports can empower kids, strengthen communities, and build leaders. From coaching culture to recreation strategy, and from player development to parent impact, every episode brings game-ready insight from the people making it happen. Youth Sports Mastery goes live every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Only on the Daily Parks and Rec Show, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics and powered by DPRS Media Co. This is where purpose meets play.